Welcome back to the Art of MMA. I am your host, Amal Thompson. I am with.
You're with Roger.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And even though we had a pretty good fight card last week at the Apex,
Uh-huh.
we're going to put a pause on reviewing that one. We're going to hop straight into the preview of this UFC 327 down in Miami. Jiri Prochazka, Carlos Ulberg card.
Uh-huh.
We'll address the elephant in the room. It lost Van and Kai, right? Kai
Yeah.
Asakura, which sucks. I'm not sure if it was completely based on injury. I feel
No.
like injury was
Um,
involved, but it seems like, with how quickly they rescheduled, was it just something very minor, or is it just to bolster the New Jersey card that has Hamzat on it? Because if it's the latter, people who bought tickets should get the opportunity to request refunds. But I feel like it's
yeah.
based on injury, right?
Yeah. I don't know what it was. I know it was an injury to Van, but
Yeah. Okay, so there was injury involved.
it
Cool.
it yeah, they said it was an injury and it was to Van.
Okay,
Um
not to say good for the injury, but I was a little bit confused because I couldn't get like a clear picture on why we moved that fight back.
yeah, moved it back
Um,
to 328. So they already
yeah,
have it rescheduled, so it's going to happen.
yeah.
Now, you know, could they have done some behind the scenes stuff to move it back? I'm sure they could have, but I mean, it's probably just a small injury that he felt like it
Mm.
was going to affect his thing. He didn't want to cancel it out. And, you know, um, so now their Van is going to fight Tyra on the next card. So that'll make a good card for Chimaev. I think it's going to
That'll
make
help.
it
That will help a ton.
because that
That will
card I
help a
think was
ton.
pretty weak before this fight came on it.
It was. It was a very weak card in New Jersey, especially with it having that welterweight fight on there. Well, not welterweight, middleweight fight on there. It needed a little bit of love, and I felt like there's other fights you could add to it.
Mm-hmm.
Fighter whose name's evading me called to be on that card in New Jersey. He's a lightweight. I think he was on 2 cards ago. Got a knockout finish. I got to go back and look. I know who I'm trying to say. As soon as I pull up the card, I'll be able to tell
I
you.
remember him asking to be on it.
Yeah. Yeah, he said just add me
Um,
to that one. And I mean, if the guy is asking for that opportunity and he
yeah,
didn't take much damage at all in the prior card, I feel like that would have been a good opportunity for him. Let me go back. I think it was the Evlov Murphy card.
yeah, it wasn't Terrence McKinney, was it?
No, no. Actually, it was a card that I watched the whole thing, so it might be Emmett Vallejo. Elijah Smith. Elijah Smith has to be on the New Jersey card. He's a bantamweight. He got a sub against Su Young Yu. Been on a bit of a tear. 10-0.
Okay.
Well, 10-1-0. Obviously had a submission win in this one off of a knockdown. He also Batista bombed somebody into a finish recently this year. He's just on fire right now.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like there's an opportunity to add him to the back end of this one, and they still might. But yeah, with him on there, Atiba's coming back on the
Yeah.
New Jersey card. There's some good ones on there. But Van definitely helps. But we're not going to skip ahead too far. We're going to come back to this Miami card, and we're going to go with our opener. Prado versus Radka. A nice little opening fight.
It is.
How you see that one shaping up?
Brackey's good. But Prado, I feel like has more of a upswing there. He's it's hard to say.
It's a pretty even fight, I think.
Yeah, it
I
is.
think it's good matchmaking.
I'm gonna go with Prado on this one.
Yes, sir.
I really think he's just got that push inside of him. He's gonna keep pushing. And I think that's why I'm going to go with him. I've seen him fight in the past. I like to watch him fight. He's a little small for the division. Well, and when I say small, I mean short.
Yeah, he's shorter.
But, I mean, Charles Radke's good. He's definitely got a chance in this fight. This is not like, I expect one to blow the other one out of the water. but I'm gonna go with Prado in this one. Probably decision Prado.
So we're not doing reviews of the last one yet. We will, right? And Trishan Gore had a
Uh-huh.
rough go at it uh, prior to this last card. Was able to kind of pull himself out of an opportunity where if he was defeated, he's probably out of the UFC, right?
Mm-hmm.
Prado's 1-4 in his last 5.
Yeah.
It's do or die for the kid. I feel like he can't keep sliding against these opponents. Decision lost to
Yeah.
Malarkey. Decision lost to Zell Huber. Decision lost to Nikolai Veretinikov, which we're finding out is on a little bit of a resurgence, so that's not
Yeah.
actually a bad loss. And I thought he had an opportunity to get his hand raised in that one as well.
Yeah.
That one was a
Yeah.
very, very closely scored one. And then decision loss to Jake Matthews. He needs to, I think, push the pace. I think he needs to make sure it doesn't get to the judges'
Yeah.
scorecards because he hasn't had much luck there.
No.
I'm gonna ride with Prado too because there's just something calling me that he'll be able to
Yeah.
pull himself out of a bad situation, get a win that's much needed. He's I think he's in a good spot to kind of shake back. And he's pretty nice odds on the book. So I'm rocking with Prado for this one.
Okay. All right.
Yes, yes, yes. On to the next. Vicente Luque, Calvin Gastelum.
Yep.
4 years ago, this fight would have been fantastic.
Oh man, this fight
Um,
would have been great 4 years ago.
yes, but the year we're in currently, it's a middleweight fight.
Yeah.
Kelvin versus Vicente. Kelvin's coaches are hyping up his preparation for this one. Said he's been doing those 2-a-days. Vicente is really up there in age. I am a little bit hesitant to side with Gastelum. I say Luque is up there in age, more like UFC age, because both of them are the same age, 34 and 34.
Uh-huh.
But I feel like in terms of like tread on the tires, Vicente Luque has been running his a little bit more bald. In terms of activity. Something to me is calling out to go with Vicente Luque by decision. I have created a profile on Verdict MMA for all the listeners. I for sure have my picks up there for this week. We're working on Roger possibly having his picks up there for this week. But from this point going forward, all our picks are going to be locked in there. So you'll be able to see our records. But the more I looked at both of them and their last few fighters that they fought and their last few performances, Vicente Luque, the longer fighter, Vicente Luque, better reach. Vicente Luque, in my opinion, higher gas tank. The only thing is that this is a 3-round blitz. So, like, if Gastelum could withstand 3 rounds of activity, he's technically the better striker. But will he be able to close that distance in a safe way to get Luque out of there? I think if this fight goes past a round and a half, it's Luque's to lose. So, even though he's also a big betting underdog, I'm siding with Luque by decision here. That's what reaches out to me. What says you?
Kelvin Gastelum, second round, takes him out
Knockout.
with
His
the
boxing
hands.
coach has been speaking very highly of him lately.
Kelvin,
You said with ease?
No, with the hands.
Oh, with the hands. Okay.
With
I
the
was like,
hands, no.
sheesh.
Nothing is coming easy for Kelvin. He started off his career, just the young guy who nobody saw winning that season of Tough, and he won the season of Tough. And I believe that was the same season Vicente Luque was on. He came so late because it was with the Black Zillions. No, hold on. No, I might have the seasons mixed up. Now that I say it, Vicente was with the Black Zillions, but I don't think that was the one that had Gastelum on it. Anyway, because Gastelum was super young when he won that fight. I want to say he beat Uriah Hall, though.
That's a good win.
I think he beat Uriah Hall to win
That's
that
a great
season.
win.
Because nobody expected him to do it. Everybody thought Hall was earlier on that season. If you haven't seen that one, it's scary, and I think it changed Uriah Hall. knockout
Oh no,
kick.
yeah, for sure. I know that
I
definitely
don't.
changed how he approaches fighting.
Yeah. Um. Anyway, Gastelum has been actually not doing so bad when you look at his past here. Um. He beat Stoltzfus. He lost to Pfeiffer, but then he beat D-Rod. He lost to Sean Brady, but he beat Chris Curtis.
Mm-hmm.
Um, lost to Whitaker, but beat Heinisch. He lost to Hermanson. So he's had some losses. They haven't been against bad people. Of course, Vicente Luque is not a bad fighter, but he lost to Alvarez. He lost to Holland, and then he beat Garimbo. So he lost to Buckley. Then he beat Dos Anjos, but that was back in 2023, so that's 3 years ago. And then he lost to Neal before that. So looking at their fight records of late, knowing that this would have been a really good fight a few years back, I'm going to go with Kelvin Gastelum in this one. I think he's going to win. I think he's going to put Luque down by way of his hands in the second round.
Okay. I can't be mad at that. I think we're in for a pretty solid one there. If everything that the trainers are saying are true, we might see a renaissance of Gastelum. A little bit of that guy that we saw against Izzy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a big what if, man. What if he was able to get that belt at that window? What kind of Kevin Gastelum would we have seen?
Yeah.
Right? Chris Padilla, Markel Medeiros. Great lightweight fight.
It's going to
Both
be
guys
a
are
good fight.
streaking.
Yes.
Both guys are 5-0 in their last 5. Recently active, goes to Padilla with his last one being in November.
Yeah.
TKO win over Ismail Bonfim. Not a bad win.
Not a bad
Pretty good win. I think in terms of quality of fighters that both guys have gone against, I'm giving the edge to Padilla in this one. He's seen the more talented fighters as of late. And for that reason, I'm also siding with Padilla to add another one to Markel Medeiros' record. I think Padilla will win this by decision.
Okay.
I think he has pretty solid fight IQ. I think he'll have good ring control. I think he pulls it out. I think it's a brawl. I think it'll be a good fight. But I have Padilla. I think Padilla pulls this one out by decision.
I would say if Medeiros wins, I'll go with him winning by decision. If Padilla wins, I'm gonna go. He's his last 2 fights, he's won 2 of them in the second round, and 1 of them went to decision.
Yes.
So I'm gonna pick Chris Padilla. I'm gonna go straight down the middle and say he gets it done in the third round.
Okay.
Splits the difference. I think Medeiros is good enough to take him all the way. But Padilla tends to finish people, so I'll go with that finish in the third round.
I like it. He's a bit more aggressive in the pocket as well.
Yeah.
If you're gonna get specific, I think he's a little bit more aggressive in the pocket, so I could see that as well.
Yeah.
Women's fights have been all the rage as of late.
Mm-hmm. They've been good.
Again, haven't reviewed recently, but had a knee finish in the prelims. A knee finished in the prelims of the last card.
What actually finished that fight? Was that?
What do you mean? What actually?
You talking about the first fight on the card?
Yeah, Pereira. But not actually like Pereira's sister, but
Pereira. No, Pereira was the other one. Barbosa. Was it Barbosa?
I don't remember.
I think it was the first fight on the card. Second fight on the card. No. Maybe that was the week before. No,
you might be going the week before.
I don't think I was, though. No, it was Barbosa Gatto. It was the second fight on the card.
Barbosa.
Oh
yeah, Dion Barbosa. Oh yeah, well she got a majority decision.
She got a majority decision,
but she soccer kicked her. That's your
That's
style.
what won that fight.
That's your vibe, yes.
And you know what?
Yeah,
we can get into that later, but Gatto put out
yeah.
a statement that I saw. I think she put it out earlier today, basically saying that she does believe that that soccer kick changed the way she fought. And she said, I'm not saying that I would have won the fight. She said, I am not saying I would have won the fight, but I should not have been put in the position by the referees or the commission to decide whether to continue. When you ask a fighter if they want to fight and if they can fight, they're always going to say yes. She should never have been put in that position.
Not if
That's
you're
what she
Aljamain
said.
Sterling. You go
There's
owie owie owie, and you stay down,
there's
and you hold up your belt
outliers. There's
that you win
outliers to everything.
off of the injury.
There's
Injury.
outliers to everything. I mean, he did get kneed in the head. It was pretty
He
bad.
did. It was
I
bad.
actually do agree with that one being called that way.
I mean, no, I'm not in the disagreement that it got called that way.
That he did say he wasn't going to continue. Like,
Yeah, you should.
you know,
You should. You got soccer
you
kicked in
should
the
say
face.
that. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
should be over, right? I was
Yeah.
talking about the Pereira where she actually ended the fight on the knee.
Yeah.
Which I guess you can.
I thought you were talking about the other one.
No,
when
the
you
soccer.
came to the women's fights.
I know the soccer kick pulls you out of your body. When it comes to soccer kicks, cage grabs, it gets you really excited, right? So I can't fault you for jumping at the idea of discussing a soccer kick. But
Yeah.
the women's fights have been electric, is what I'm saying.
They've been really good.
Jaideroba, again, we are not reviewing the card yet, but we'll talk about that one later. But 2 out of 3 we can't. 2 out of 3 on a card we can't be mad at. Tatiana Suarez is fighting Lupe Godinez.
Mhm.
I'm going with Tatiana Suarez in this one by KO.
By
Round 2.
KO.
Yes, I think she's going to put the hands on Lupe because Lupe is going to be very comfortable exchanging, and I think she gets her out of there. I think she's faced the better competition. I know it's very unlikely for these fighters to go to a stoppage in a fight unless it's sub, but something tells me she's going to stand and trade and get caught with something from Tatiana, and I'm excited to see it. I think Tatiana comes out as the number 10. Elevates your spot, probably gets that 6th spot off of Lupe.
No, Tatiana's number 2.
Why do they have her as number 10 on this one then?
Is she doing a different weight class?
Maybe. I mean, this is a strawweight fight.
Yeah, they have her number 2. UFC does.
I'm trusting Verdict MMA right now, but maybe they're feeding me false facts. Either way, Tatiana Suarez wins. She's minus 155 favorite currently. I think that is sharp money.
How much?
Minus 155.
Okay, 155. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's
she
good
gets a job
for her.
done against Lupe. Yeah.
I could actually see that being higher. But Lupe's good. Lupe's got some good wins.
Lupe's not bad. Yeah.
Her last win is against Andrade, so not bad. But she has lost to the champ Mackenzie Dern, and she's lost to John DeRoba.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them were decisions. She took them all the way. She did beat Lupe or Ricci. So she's a good fighter. She's right there in the mix. I'm gonna go with Tatiana. I think her wrestling is going to get her in a good spot.
Yeah.
I think this goes to decision, and Tatiana wins it off decision.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go close decision. I don't think it.
You think it's gonna be?
I think
split?
it's gonna.
You think Lupe could bank the first round?
Perhaps, but I think it's going to be more. I don't think it's going to be a split, but I think it's going to be a 28-27 or sorry, 29-28, 29-28, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could get down with that. I could get down with it. We got Gamrot versus Ribovitz. Listen here. I think Gamrot has a good performance.
Okay.
I think Gamrot minus 185, so they have it as a pretty close fight. I think Gamrot will win on the ground, especially. I think he actually will have a little bit better exchanges in the striking as well. I just think Gamrot's level of competition that he's lost to, and Ribovitz, though good, isn't one of those fighters that I feel like is surging necessarily. Like I think he's in the mix, but like the level of competition he's beaten is aging poorly, you know?
I could see that. being
Like
that
Terrence McKinney's a good win.
Zell Huber
Terrence,
was
yeah,
probably his best win
yes,
until you get to McKinney. I think McKinney is now a better win um,
yeah.
than Zell Huber now. Um,
To a certain extent. I mean, McKinney's done McKinney things to people that McKinney should beat. Um, but I'm yet to see McKinney pass a true test.
yeah,
Would you disagree? I don't
no,
think Kyle Nelson was a big test.
no, I
Um,
haven't. But
you
I
look at
just think
Gamrot's
Zell
3-2. Oh
Huber's
yeah,
fallen that much.
Zell Huber's fallen a ton.
Not that not that McKinney has come up so much as Zell Huber's fallen, and
Hmm.
McKinney stayed, and he's done the right things by winning. Um, so I think that's a good win. Gamrot, I think, is on another level though. I don't think Ribovich is on his level.
No, I don't think so either. And I think you look at who he's. You don't want to do the MMA math, but you lose to Charles Oliveira, and people just think you're washed.
Yeah,
Um, Charles is a top 10 fighter in the world.
yeah, yeah.
I think he's shown
He's
that.
good.
So there's a 6-year age gap, um, but I don't think that matters. And I think Gamrot gets him out of there, second round submission.
Yeah, I think Gamrot. I could go with second round submission. I don't have an issue with that.
You like that,
Um, I like that just fine.
right?
I don't think Ribovich makes this a close fight. Gamrot's just not quite as aggressive
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to like picking him to finish a fight, but I feel like he's that much at that much of a higher level than Ribovich. So I'm good with that.
I like that. Kevin Holland, Randy Brown. Um, I would say two of our favorite fighters.
Yeah.
Kevin Holland for his activity, Randy Brown for just the potential that we've seen consistently. Like we keep saying, he's right there.
Mm-hmm.
He's right there. He's just got to
Yeah.
figure it out. They have this fight fairly even on the books. For me, I think Randy Brown does the striking better. I think he does the length control better. I think he has a stronger pop on the jab. I think if he works the kicks, he'll be better there as well. Where Kevin could present problems is he's willing to be aggressive. He's willing to close the space. He'll actually be the better grappler in this exchange, which you don't say that about Kevin very often. And it's about engagement.
Yeah.
Is he bought into this fight? Engaged or a back against the wall Kevin Holland is one of the most dangerous fighters in the UFC. Will we get that? I don't know. Based on his recent social media run, it's a lot of videos of him not really doing much training. Now I'm not saying that that's like what you bank on.
Ooh,
Bless you.
excuse me.
But I remember Kevin Holland said he's putting down certain practices to get right for his training. And if you go on his Instagram, he's picked those practices up. And fight week is coming up. You get me? So
Yeah.
I think Randy Brown understood what that last loss did to him because, again, he was on the cusp of doing something special. That knockout of Nicholas Dalby had him on a run. Everybody said he got robbed against Brian Battle. I agree. And then you go into Gabriel Bonfim, and if he took that win and took that shine, who knows what his next fight is? He gets finished, right? Randy Brown, I feel like is a too difficult of a fight currently for what Kevin Holland's aspiring to do. I just think they're on different ends of the spectrum. I think Kevin Holland's going to always have a place to either be that launching pad for a prospect, that, I guess fraud checker / gatekeeper for these prospects, kind of what that role King Green's providing right now. Anybody, anytime type of deal. I think this is just an opportunity for Randy Brown to outstrike him for 3 rounds, get the decision win, and get out of there. If he really wants to set a mark, he'll sit down on some of those punches and see if we have a Kevin Holland who's willing to exchange. Because, I mean, we've watched Wonder Boy do intense damage to Kevin Holland and leave him on the stool. Granted, Kevin Holland hurt his hand, but they didn't play the let's go strike for strike game. They went in there and they brawled.
Yeah.
And I could see something similar happening because Randy Brown's measurables reminds me a lot of Wonder Boy, just way less skilled. No offense to Randy
Mm.
Brown. So give me Randy Brown by decision in this one. What says you?
I want to take Randy Brown as well. Did you know he is at a disadvantage in reach in this fight?
That's surprising.
3-inch reach advantage for Kevin Holland. But in the
Mm,
leg reach, he's got a 5-inch reach advantage, which I could also see. He's very tall, so.
very tall guy.
But they're both the same height though, actually. So that's interesting. I figured Randy Brown would kind of tower above Kevin Holland, and he's not. I didn't know Kevin Holland was 6'3". So
Yeah, they're tall
they're
guys.
both going to be tall there. Here's the thing. I love Randy Brown. I can't trust Randy Brown.
No, I get
I,
that.
I mean, he should, on paper, be the harder striker. He
Mm-hmm.
should be just as fast as Kevin Holland.
Mm-hmm.
I think faster. I think as far as his hands go, I don't think Kevin Holland should be able to touch him.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. Kevin Holland, I think, has the advantage in the grappling, but I feel like Randy Brown should be strong enough with his defense to try to keep him off of him. And I think on paper, Randy Brown should win this fight. And I don't think it should really be too challenging for him to win this fight. On the other hand, I can't trust him to win the fight. So, like,
Right
I
there with you.
would not put money on this fight. Rarely would I say I would not put money on this fight, and I'll probably turn around and do it anyway. But this is one
I
that,
think Randy Brown by decision is just calling my name. Randy Brown by decision just speaks
I
to me.
see, and here's the thing: I don't see Kevin Holland with a finish in this one. So I even if Randy Brown goes out and fights a bad fight, I don't see Kevin Holland finishing him. So
The thing is, I could see that though. If
you
we get a
could,
motivated Kevin Holland, yeah.
yeah,
We just watched Randy Brown get chinned.
yeah,
You know, I don't think he's a strong grappler, and I've watched Kevin Holland make light work of guys that are ascending right now,
yeah.
right? If we go back to Kevin Holland's recent wins, uh he has a win against Olajayshuk, no? Michelle,
Yeah, I think so.
yeah, and it was a submission win. If I'm not mistaken, he dislocated his arm.
I want to say he does
Yeah,
have that win.
it was a first round finish of Michelle Olajayshuk submission armbar, right? So he has like wins in there. You're like, oh my gosh, you know
He's
what
got
I
a
mean?
submission win against Vicente Luque.
Yeah, like he's had some in there where you're like, this guy to be doing this to these level of fighters, crazy, right?
Yeah,
So I think he has punching power still on the feet. And if he closes the distance and doesn't let Randy Brown play the distance game, because even though he does have longer arms, Kevin Holland does not play a distance fight when he fights. Or if he's able to get this on the mat, I don't think Randy Brown has the ground defense for it.
no.
So
And
his path to victory for me is by finish.
Kevin Holland, submission win.
Okay.
Here's
if you're
the
believing
thing.
in Kevin Holland, I think a
Kev-
finish is the way to go.
It's hard to say you could trust either one of these guys because neither
Yeah.
one of them have been super consistent.
Mhm.
They're both very fun to watch, and you never want to miss a Kevin Holland fight. You never want to miss a Randy Brown fight
Yes.
because they're both fun to watch. You just never know what's going to happen when they get out there. If they're throwing and if their game is on point, they're some of the best fighters in the world.
Correct.
But when they're not, they lose to people they shouldn't lose to.
Correct.
So it's such a hard
They're the
pick.
Spider-Man meme, man. Like both of them are
Yeah.
wearing the suit, pointing at each other. Like, how is this possible? Like it's like looking in a mirror. I agree with your sentiment. Like it's not something you could bank on. But
Yeah.
I rarely say that fights have hedges for themselves. I don't think Kevin Holland could win this going to decision. I don't. Right? So if you're gonna take Randy Brown, I feel like you could hedge it with Kevin Holland by stoppage.
What if
'Cause that's-
he does win it by decision though? A lot of times with these exciting fighters, and Holland is not necessarily exciting on the feet. he gets exciting on the ground when he can submit somebody, but we've also seen him knock out Souza from his back, which was one of the
Yeah,
crazier things I've seen in MMA. But
yeah,
what if he just drags Randy Brown to the ground for 3 rounds straight, pulls a
that would be
Oliveira,
interesting.
and just
That would be
drags him to the ground
interesting.
and takes a unanimous decision?
I just don't. I think Randy Brown is. I don't want to say inept because I mean I'm not a wrestler or a jiu-jitsu specialist, right? Um, I don't have the skill set to really be disrespectful, but his ground game just looks so uncomfortable,
I mean, I'm
and
sure
I
it
feel
probably
like
is.
Kevin Holland is more comfortable in that realm,
Oh, he's
which
definitely
leads me
more.
to believe
Yeah,
Kevin Holland gets down there, he'll get a finish. He'll find a way to the finish.
I can see
He's
him
not going
getting
to
a
play the
choke in
game of
that.
rolling around. He also strikes me as a guy where, yeah, I see him as a guy who's like, if I could get out of here, I'm going to get out of here with this W. I'm not really in here for the 3 rounds of wrestling,
Right.
you know? Um, so this is how I kind of see it scripting out. And that's why I'm willing to, you know, even though I'm going with Randy Brown by decision because I feel like he is going to be cautious. He wants to win the fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I could see him playing the game where he's keeping distance, like you said, throwing the leg kicks, frustrating, Kevin Holland. Probably watching that Michael Page, Kevin Holland fight and seeing how he's gonna adopt some of those strategies against Kevin Holland. Just a very frustrating 3 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
Because Randy Brown, I think, has a little bit more to be fighting for. He's trying to put himself back in the era of like fighting a Bonfim level fighter.
Right.
Because again, everyone keeps telling him like he has the tools.
Well, and he does.
Yeah.
But he's getting up there in the age.
Mm-hmm.
His chances are running slimmer and slimmer, but then, Kevin Holland's been fighting these high level guys too.
Mm-hmm.
And so
It's honestly a really good fight.
I'm going to go with Kevin Holland in this one. I'm going to go with him.
Okay.
I feel like there's more. He's got more of the tools you need to win an MMA fight. The hands can get it done on any day of the week. It's true. If your hands are not on, Kevin Holland can out wrestle him on a bad day. He can out grapple him, I should say. Should be able to out grapple him on a bad day.
Mm-hmm.
And even if Randy Brown's having a good day, Holland should be able to still out grapple him even on a bad day, and I think get a submission even on a bad day.
Mm-hmm.
If Holland's having that bad day, can't keep up with him with the hands, and Randy Brown's having a good day, sure, Randy Brown should win this fight. On paper, he should win this fight. But I just feel like I can't depend on him, and I think Holland's got more ways to win an MMA fight. So I'm gonna give it to Holland.
I understand.
I'm sorry.
Nah, when
Hang
it
my
comes
head in
to
shame.
Jamaican fighters, we know what Roger stands on. So this kind of fits the theme. But no, it's really you're splitting hairs, and I definitely understand where you're coming from. I'm just hoping this fight ends up being an exciting one. And if Kevin Holland's able to get back on track, he's exciting as well. He's good on the mic. He presents so many problems, and when he's motivated, you know what you could get out of a motivated Kevin Holland.
Yeah.
To a degree.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm not mad at him winning either.
No.
What you don't know, what you'll get out of this fighter, Aaron Pico versus Patricio Pitbull.
Another one.
The idea of Aaron Pico is so much better than Aaron Pico.
I think he's a Randy Brown type fighter.
The lure of but Aaron Pico is the second coming of John Jones. If you have anybody tell you his backstory, Golden Glove winner at 14, freshman wrestler 42-0. Like all the stuff. He could have gone to wrestle in the Olympics, but decided I have all the tools to be an MMA fighter. Let me pull this up. Being a Bellator fighter, which again he entered Bellator at 19, so kind of the Raul Rosas deal. Entered really early. Probably didn't have the man's body to be fighting in there, but he's 13-5. And you know Uncle Dana, he's gonna do the let's put the Bellator guys against each other and
Mm-hmm.
see who gets to stay.
And during that time, wasn't Pitbull champ in Bellator?
Yep, he was, right? So if I bring these both these fighters to you and I tell you that one fighter has had 12 TKO to KO wins to 2 losses, one fighter is 9-4 in those. One fighter has had 12 to 1 submission wins, the other one is 2-1 in those. One person's had 12 to 3 unanimous decision wins, the other one is 2-0 in those, right? Like record outside the UFC 36-7. Other dude is 13-4, right? Who would you expect to be favored in this fight?
The guy who's got the knockout wins, the first guy,
Right?
the guy who's champ, the guy who's
Right?
got all that. Yeah.
Aaron Pico is minus 350 on the books.
Okay.
There is a 9-year age gap. I get it. I
Yeah.
do. One guy took Yair Rodriguez to decision.
Uh-huh.
He lost pretty decisively, but a decision loss. One guy's debut was against Laurent Murphy and got probably one of the most highlight knockouts of the year.
Yeah.
Done to him in his debut.
Yeah.
Next guy went out, fought Dan Ige, got a decision win. Now, you know, Dan Ige has been known for his durability. Came up against a Melzkiel Costa, put that to rest a little bit, but
yeah,
he was one of those guys who was there to kind of test your muscle to see if you're, have what it takes to kind of be in the UFC. I am not buying the Aaron Pico hype. I'm selling. No, I get the pressure. I get the front foot pressure. I get the better wrestler. I get all the measurables. I get that he's a decent striker and a decent boxer. You know one thing he can't train?
What's that?
His chin.
True.
You can't train your chin. And I feel like Patricio Pitbull's experience in the octagon and the fact that he's still a little bit sharp, because again, he looked pretty decent against Dan Ige. Granted, Dan Ige is not a quote-unquote Aaron Pico level wrestler, but I'm still yet to understand the lore of Aaron Pico. And maybe I'll find out this Saturday. Maybe I'll see why Aaron Pico is the guy that everybody says Aaron Pico is. I just don't see it. And based on what I've seen from both guys in the UFC, and the fact that one guy held a belt in another promotion. Granted, he's up there in age.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the savvy vet to test Aaron Pico's, chin, so to speak. And I think he gets, I think I put on Verdict MMA that is going to be a decision win for Patricio Pitbull. I am changing that to a knockout in the second round.
Knockout?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he gets him out of there because I think he'll drop him and then get all over him. Because I don't think he wants to get into a consistent eating takedowns over and over, takedown attempts from a faster, supposed to be more in his prime fighter in Aaron Pico. What says you?
Before the Laurent Murphy fight, Aaron Pico in his 10 fights before that was 9-1. He's won 9 fights, lost 1. TKO, TKO decision, TKO, TKO decision, submission, TKO, submission, TKO. That's how that plays out. Now, he did lose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of his first 7 fights. He was 4-3.
Yes.
Since then, he's 9-2.
Okay,
it's a pretty good run.
That is.
I would argue, while he did get, and in his words, he was embarrassed by Laurent Murphy. He was winning that fight.
He was.
Aaron Pico, conditioning wise, is top notch. His wrestling and grappling will be able to nullify what Pitbull throws at him. Should be able to nullify what Pitbull throws at him. And his hands should be able to outdo Patricio at this age. Patricio's shot in this is a puncher's chance. who do you want to give a puncher's chance to more than Patricio Pitbull, though? I mean, Patricio Pitbull can land him. I mean, his losses, he's got one guillotine loss in his very first match, and then his other loss was KO, TKO for flying knee and punches, TKO, and the spinning back elbow. So his losses seem to be knockouts. I want to say if you're looking at what could happen, what a lot of people want to see happen is Patricio to go out there and get that knockout. And I think if
people are anti Aaron Pico?
Yeah, I do. I do. And I don't think it's like a heavy, I don't think he's like the enemy, like people hate him. I just don't think that he's got the support of a lot of the fans yet. I don't think they really are standing behind Aaron Pico yet. I think Pitbull is still considered royalty in the sport. Maybe not amongst people that only watch the UFC, but if you watch other organizations and you know some of the guys and some of the other ones, you've been watching them. I mean, Pitbull he's royalty. And I think they want him to continue that into the UFC. I think he's a little too old to take advantage of it against a 29-year-old Aaron Pico. And I think Pico gets a unanimous decision.
Okay. I mean, that's what it's supposed to shape out like. It is.
If Pitbull wins, I think it's a knockout. It's probably a spectacular knockout. I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of Aaron Pico fights, but I've seen some of him training. I've seen some of his fights, and I just think he's going to be too much for an aging Pitbull. I think Pitbull waited too long to get in the UFC.
That speed. I think if he's calculating, he uses that speed advantage. You're right on the money with how he wins.
I'll tell you though, if no one's teaching him where to put his head, which he should be well versed in it, and he probably is well versed in it, but it just you see the trend of the knockouts and his losses, and you think like those can't all like one or two knockouts can be, oh, he just caught me. But when your losses are building up as TKOs and knockouts, it's not he just caught me anymore, right?
We've talked about head placement.
If you haven't fixed that, you got about 3 days.
Yeah.
So get that fixed. Because it doesn't matter if you're training under Freddie Roach. It doesn't matter if you're training all your stuff out there in California with Coach Cal. All that stuff is there. If your head placement is there where you can still be hit, watch out because Pitbull's going to throw him, and he can still throw.
He is going to throw him.
And a knockout by him is not a fluke. He didn't just catch you. So take care of business with that, and I think Aaron Pico rides. I think he wins it. I think he'll be too much, and I do think that's going to be the way it is. Hopefully, he's learned from his mistake, and hopefully he will create some fans. I do think he's still not even 30 yet. They were talking about Aaron Pico wait, he's still not even 30 yet. So I think he's got a huge upside. I think he wins this fight. He gets himself ranked. And him choosing Bellator over UFC years ago will be water under the bridge.
Okay. I'm excited to see it. Almost like I'm excited to see this next run of fights are pretty solid. We got Cub Swanson, Nate Landwehr. It's supposed to be Swanson's swan song. We'll see if that is the case. I've been told by my co-host that he called it before.
I thought he had.
And he rescinded and he came back. But look, they put him against the perfect person. When I say good matchmaking, this is what I'm talking about. I give Dana crap and I give the UFC crap since we moved to Paramount about some of the matchmaking, I guess, shortcomings that have been there, and how they don't really make much sense. This one's perfect. This is a perfect setup. You know how perfect it is?
How perfect is it?
The last win that Cub Swanson has is a round 3 TKO. Guess how the last 2 losses for Landwehr happened?
Round 3 TKOs.
Bingo bongo.
Whoo!
Now, I'm not saying round 3 TKO is where the money's at. But let's just say Landwehr likes to brawl. Swanson likes to brawl.
Loves to brawl.
I think Swanson had a tough fight against Andre Philly that, depending who's scoring, you could have said that was his fight as well. Billy Quarantillo knockout was great, fought that well. Landwehr was very aggressive in his Morgan Sherreri fight. Sherreri put him out. But I see somebody who's willing to get in there and engage. And I think that's the perfect fight for Cub Swanson. So give me Cub Swanson to win this TKO/KO round 3. I think it's a fast pace all the way through. Both guys throwing heavy lumber. And I think Cub Swanson gets the win in his final fight down here in Miami. What says you?
Well, I can't find. Well, I can't find anything saying that he did actually retire.
And come back?
It says in 2024 in December that he previously stated he was leaning towards retirement and only the right fight would bring him back. So, okay.
What is the right fight?
Nate Landwehr is the right fight. It's the only fight he wanted.
Nate Landwehr is indeed the right fight.
In December of 2024, Cub Swanson had one name on his list. That name was Nate Landwehr.
Probably.
He's coming in for that 3rd round TKO. He wants all 3 rounds to be glorious for the audience. This is going to be a back and forth brawl, and Cub Swanson is going to drag it out into the 3rd round. Just for the fans can watch him get the knockout in the last 10 seconds of the fight. And then he's going to bow, and Swanson will do his swan song.
Yep.
And get out.
I love it. I love everything about it. I think it's a great precursor to the next one. Dominic Reyes, Johnny Walker.
Whew.
Don't get up in between those fights. Because if you get up and be like, I'm going to use the restroom, get a drink of water, maybe grab a snack, you might be on to Curtis Blades' Hoke It at that point.
Yep.
If you wait too long. Because these two, Dominic Reyes has an affinity for getting put out by the spectacular hit.
Yes, he does. Oh my gosh.
Johnny Walker has an affinity for getting put out by any hit. But Johnny Walker also has the affinity of throwing the spectacular hits as well. We've seen Johnny Walker put some crazy highlights together. Crazy. But we look at both guys. Dominic Reyes' last loss was to Carlos Ulberg, who's on this card, fighting Prohaska for the belt. The last fight that Johnny Walker lost was to Volkan Ozdemir. Still a pretty solid fighter. TKO'd in that one. The fight before that, TKO'd by Magomed Ankalaev. So both pretty solid fighters. Last fight, though, TKO win against Mingyang Zhang. Again, he's out there for a short time, not a long time.
Yeah.
I am leaning with Dominic Reyes getting this done, but the more I sit and look at it, I don't trust Dominic Reyes when he puts pressure on himself. I don't trust Dominic Reyes against somebody who's a creative striker. I don't like the idea of him saying, if I win this fight, I'm in the mix for a light heavyweight belt. I don't think that's where we're at right now, boss man. Anthony Smith in the Lord's Year 2024 as one of your big wins in your last 5. It's not really it, big man. So, I love the enthusiasm and I love his trying to position himself, right, with the guys on this card. But we've seen Dominic Reyes versus Prohaska.
Yep.
On many a highlight reel and UFC role, right? When they're hyping up a card. And that's a very Johnny Walker type strike in the pocket. Johnny Walker has that in his bag. He does. And
Absolutely,
unfortunately
he
for Reyes,
does.
I think he's still very susceptible to that. So for that reason, I'm going with Johnny Walker by first round KO.
First round.
Yeah, I don't think this makes it out the first round, boss. Don't get up. Don't leave.
Okay.
Whoever goes down is going down in the first round. If
Yeah.
you want a safe bet, take fight to see round 2. No. I don't think it sees round 2. Because I think the first 2 exchanges, it might get the 2 exchanges. If you have a book where you could bet on, will this fight end in the first exchange? You might want to throw $1 on that. Because I think as soon as they collide and anything connects, it's game over. I think it's that type of fight. Both chins are fairly shatterable. Both guys are fairly strong punchers still. Again, Johnny Walker creative. Dominic Reyes does have power and is a pretty good athletic specimen still.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see this making out the first round with how these guys fight, especially Johnny Walker. Somebody's going out. Might be Johnny Walker, but somebody's going out.
Yeah. So, sparring and fighting are 2 different things.
Yes.
I think most people would agree on that.
Mm-hmm.
I've been training with Francis Ngannou, sparring with him, even while dieting, with about a 44-pound difference since I'm much lighter now. I've been able to train with him just fine, even in wrestling, strength, and ground and pound. If I can do that while dieting, imagine without it. A move to heavyweight is not long for Johnny Walker if the opportunity presents itself.
Mm-hmm.
If Johnny Walker is that confident coming into this fight, a confident Johnny Walker is a dangerous Johnny Walker. I think there's more stability on the Dominic Reyes side. I think he'll be the more even keel fighter.
Mm-hmm.
But he does have an affinity to get caught. We talked about that earlier. And if he has not fixed that, Johnny Walker can exploit that. And I'm going to go with Johnny Walker also to win this fight. Maybe it'll see round 2. Maybe.
Do we believe in patience? I don't think
No.
Johnny Walker does.
I don't believe.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
I think the longer this fight goes to, the better chance Dominic Reyes has. I'm just throwing that out.
Yeah, I think so too, because he's so much more even keel, and Johnny Walker will trip over himself.
Mm-hmm.
And so being that if that's the case, then yeah, I think Dominic Reyes in a long fight, I've got him to win that fight. In a short fight, I think it's going Johnny Walker all the way. And I'm tempted to say, when you get 2 really entertaining strikers and they kind of stand back and watch each other, but that's not either one of these guys' MO. So I'm going to go Johnny Walker as well.
I can see Dominic Reyes playing it safe. Johnny Walker will not do that.
Yeah, so
he can't do that.
I'm going to go Johnny Walker, but I'm going to go second round.
Okay. I'm not mad at that. We lead that into the next fight. Curtis Blades, Josh Hokett. Now, you're not supposed to pick a fight with your heart. But I have an intense dislike for what Hokett's hype job or whatever he thinks he's doing is.
I haven't seen the press conference and I already hate it.
I am frustrated. He went out there for his media day today or whatever day it was, where they give you like a little 15 or 20 minutes to answer questions out there. And he went on this, not rant, but just tomfoolery of conversation where he's talking about how he's gonna decapitate Curtis Blades in front of 20,000 and 20 million watching at home. And it's just like a bad
pro
photocopy of a WWE promo.
Yeah.
And it's so uncomfortable and it's so cringy. And I've never seen people come together to support Curtis Blades like this ever. Ever.
Curtis Blades, man of the people.
Man of the people, Curtis Blades. Literally, people are like, please, Curtis Blades. Please put an end to this, Curtis Blades. Which, I mean, shout out to Hokett, I guess, right? Not me. I don't like it. But, like, he is garnering so much attention from being so cringy and so annoying. right? To the fact where people are going to tune in hoping he loses. And you know what's the tough part? I can't confidently say he does. That's what sucks the most. Is I want to
Yeah.
be able to just be like, yeah, Curtis Blades tosses him around. He's never run into a wrestler like this, which are all things that, he hasn't run into a wrestler like this. He has
No.
not, right? But you look at him losing to Rizvan Kunaev, who's not bad, but like that's that's not a good, in my opinion, that's not a good loss for Curtis Blades.
I think Kanaev is ranked though, isn't he?
I heard
think
he's
he's ranked now.
okay, but I watched him against Almeida, and my oh
Yeah.
my, that was
Well,
ugly.
but he controlled a guy who was trying to take him down the whole fight and kept him from taking him down.
He did, and he had enough activity, right? The thing is, like, the one thing Hokit is an athlete, right? I still think he's going to be light on his feet. I think he's a strong puncher. I think he's able to evade some of Curtis Blades' attempts at a takedown. I do think Curtis is a little bit labored and heavy in his approach. And I don't care. I'm taking Curtis.
Did
I'm
Curtis
tired
Blades?
of Hokit.
Did Curtis Blades have someone drop out? I think we
No.
talked about this before as to why he even took this fight.
No,
Like, why
we
was he
said
even
that
entertaining this fight? There's no
we
reason.
said that his manager should be fired. That's what we
Yeah.
said. Because, like, my last fight is debutant Kunaev. At the time, I was number 4. I think he's still up there, right? He's number 8, or he's high.
number 5.
He's number 5, right?
And
So
Kanaev is now number 7.
yeah, at number 4, they give you Kunaev the debutante. Crazy
If-
matchup already.
If
Then your
Hokit-
next fight is a guy who's not a debutante, but
He's had
his best win is Denzel Freeman.
Denzel Freeman was a Greco-Roman wrestler. I heard it too. He was a Greco-Roman wrestler, that's true, but he was not top-notch competition to be taking Curtis Blades on. Josh, they see the potential that we saw in Josh Hokit after his first fight when he ran through the guy, and then his second fight where he ran through the guy. We always knew he was a nightmare on the microphone. He sounds terrible. He sounds cringy. He sounds like he is, knockoff of a WWE. He's writing his own stuff, and he's not particularly good at it.
It's so frustrating.
It's terrible for the sport. The problem is when he's actually in there, he's good. And he's entertaining. I heard some Curtis Blades compared him to Colby Covington earlier, but said Colby Covington could actually fight. Look, Colby Covington can fight, but Hokit in the heavyweight division is a danger. And he's going to present problems, and I think he's going to present problems to Curtis Blades. And I think that Curtis Blades is either acting when he's saying that he doesn't pose any threats, talking along those lines about how he's not as good of a fighter as Colby Covington and this, that, and the other. And sure, Colby might have some skills that he doesn't, but Hokit is explosive.
That's the problem.
And
he doesn't have to have Kobe
he doesn't
Covington's
have
bag.
to act like he's acting.
He doesn't have to have Kobe
Yeah.
Covington's bag. He
Yeah.
just needs to be aggressive, mobile, and explosive.
And he
right?
is. And that
That's
makes
all
him
he
a
needs
danger
to be
to
in the
most every
heavyweight
heavyweight out
division.
there.
Exactly. Like, you're trying to compare him to, like, a guy who was pretty much skilled in all fronts, right? Like, great wrestler, above average striker. Like, yeah, for sure. Somebody you should be like,
Yeah.
okay, he's not that. He doesn't need to be that. And unfortunately for you, Curtis, we know he doesn't necessarily need to be that to beat you. If you're not able to get this to the mat, you are so heavily on one side of the fence to
Yeah.
one skill set that if this turns into a match where you have to defend yourself on the feet, it's not gonna go well. And you're number 5.
Yeah, and you're going to lose it to Josh Hokit. I think UFC sees that, and they're going to get this guy in the top 5. And you might be seeing an Aspinall Hokit fight before long. I'm not saying right away, but how long is Aspinall going to be out? What's the
You know what? I'm not
what's the
mad
heavyweight
at that
division
because I
gonna look
would
like?
take Aspinall to win that. I'm not
Yeah.
mad at that. But, like, brother, the more I have to hear him on the mic, And I feel
Yeah.
like you could be sincere and still do what you like. Asplin is garnering so much love in that division just by being himself. And
Yeah.
granted, to some people, he puts them off a little bit, but it's sincere. It seems like it's just coming from a place of like his personality.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it's an act, right? This guy,
Yeah.
Huckett, just again, I was so excited by the talent. It's out the window for
Yeah.
me now.
Could you just hate
Give
the
me
way he
Curtis Blades by
talks?
decision. And the worst part is I don't even believe in it. I'm putting it in Verdict MMA. I'm gonna leave it.
Don't
Right?
even
That's my
believe in
pick.
him.
I'm putting that as my pick, and I'm leaving it in Verdict MMA. But I don't even believe that that's how that fight's gonna go. I
Yeah.
really truly believe Hoke is gonna come in there and be too fast. But I
think
don't
so
want to
too.
see him win. I don't want to see him win. I'm part of the problem. I'm part of the one that's gonna tune in to watch him lose. So
Yeah. Just like people used to do to watch Muhammad Ali lose. Not that he's
Mayweather,
Muhammad
same thing.
Ali. Don't
Yeah.
take that as me comparing him to Muhammad Ali. Sorry, my headphones are going out, so I'm trying to get this cord in here so I can have it charging.
Yeah, all good.
Don't think I'm comparing him to Muhammad Ali or Floyd Mayweather, but people tuned in to watch them fight, and certainly they are going to tune in to watch Hoke lose.
100%.
But I'm just saying the problem with the heavyweight division right now is it's so lackluster in talent that this guy can go from unranked and 3 fights later be fighting a top 5 fighter with a real chance to win and put himself in a title picture. And that's why I said they better hurry up and get Gable Steveson in there, because Gable Steveson could be a real challenger, but you're going to have Hoke knocking on the door before long if he wins this fight. If he wins this fight, he's going to call for a title shot. And whether he deserves it or not, he's going to be fresh blood. People are going to watch an explosive fighter. Is he on Curtis Blades level yet? I am all for giving young guys this opportunity. I don't know yet. I haven't seen enough of him to know. I don't know.
We're about to find out.
He shouldn't have a wrestling advantage in this one. He shouldn't be able to push Curtis Blades around. If Curtis Blades wants somebody who's going to come at him, this is the man. Curtis Blades should be able to handle this. If he wins, I mean, why not give him somebody higher? You know, Acosta's already got a dance partner. Volkov has a dance partner. Cyril Gane has a dance partner. Sergey Pavlovich would be next. Put him with Sergey, see what happens. So I think that's realistically the next fight if he beats Curtis Blades. I'm not sure that he's up to that level.
And not to sit on it too long, but like, again, what's the upside for Curtis Blades?
There is no upside, because if he loses
out of this,
if he loses this fight, I'm not sure that he gets another run.
I don't think so.
I mean, I don't know that he gets another serious look anyway. So, and honestly,
confusing.
Hoke's going to get it. He's going to be one of these people that gets in people's head. He's trying to go after Jiri.
I know. He started off with Oberg.
Yeah.
He was talking to both of them about coming up to heavyweight.
Yeah, and neither one of them are budging right now. But hey, you know it would be a good fight though. Hoke at Johnny Walker. Say they both win.
That would be a good one.
Put Hoke at Johnny Walker.
That ain't happening though, because Hoke is not fighting down. You hear how silly that sounds?
I know,
Hoke
right?
is not fighting down.
Yeah, but how fast would Johnny Walker, with his mobility, go up?
There's one thing about that. He has to take punches potentially.
Yes, he does.
And his lights get shut out pretty easily.
And that's why there's a difference between sparring and fighting.
No, 100%. He's talking about
because I can
sparring with
guarantee
Ngannou.
you can think that you're hanging with Ngannou with your wrestling and your strength and your ground and pound. Take a shot from him, like a real shot, and tell me you're hanging with someone. Even give him 70%. and see how that goes with how he's been hit. And I know he's been hit hard, but Ngannou's a different beast. So like when he says he's
Different.
training with him, just know he's training with him, he's sparring with him, he's standing and training with him some, but Ngannou is not going full bore on that. I won't believe that.
I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of him going up, but I understand again the mobility aspect.
Yeah.
Um, we have a debutant at the light heavyweight guard in Paulo Costa, a guy we've seen a lot of the middleweight ranks. Going against Mirzakhanov, who's been on a bit of a tear. He's ran through Alonzo Menfield, Branson Ribeiro, Alexander Rakic, right? Decision win over Dustin Jacoby. Again, done great things. Very explosive for the light heavyweight division. Very strong puncher. Paulo could present a bit of mobility. My issue is they gave him a really difficult guy for his first light heavyweight fight.
Yeah, they did. They did.
And I think if Paulo is able to sit back and bank on those athletic advantages that he could have, the speed factor potentially, which I keep saying potentially because Azamat Mirzakhanov, he'll blitz you. He'll get in your space quickly. He's very light-footed for the division. And he's a power puncher, man. And what we haven't really seen Paulo get dropped that way necessarily much in his career. But I think this is a tough guy to put him in there against for the first one.
So years ago, and I'm gonna throw this out there, and some people are gonna remember it, and some will not. The whole WADA versus VADA, George St. Pierre, Johnny Hendricks. And you can say steroids was a factor in that. Johnny Hendricks ended up going up to 185 shortly after he lost that title. Johnny Hendricks was made to look like a guy that couldn't fight against Paulo Costa. He was just way too small for the division. Paulo Costa is not a light heavyweight, I don't believe. I don't believe he's big enough. He's big enough for light heavyweight 15 years ago. He's not big enough now. So these guys are basically heavyweights that are cutting down. So, a la Daniel Cormier, John Jones. John Jones has always been able to be a heavyweight. They can say he took that time off to add muscle, and maybe he did because he felt like he needed it, but he really didn't. He was already weighing as much as Stipe Miocic was.
He was.
So, these guys are heavyweights that have come down in weight, and I don't believe that Costa is big enough to do it. It's a 20-pound jump from 185 to 205. You're weighing in, and I know it was hard for him to make it, but you're used to fighting guys at 185 and competing with them at the highest levels, and this is where it shows that weight class makes a difference. I'm going with Costa to get slaughtered. So, I think less than a round and a half, and he looks bad. And he looks bad in the process.
So here's my apprehension too. Like for Costa, the way he fought against Roman Kopylov, he won't be able to fight against Asmat. I think it's a very dangerous game to play in front of that guy.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe he'll beat up the legs and take away some of that mobility from Mirzakhanov, which if he does that, I could see him winning a decision fight if he's able to extend it and stay out of danger. Paulo just doesn't strike me as a confident Paulo strikes me as a guy who will stay in the pocket and stay in danger. And again, successfully survived a lot of these exchanges in middleweight. It's a whole different beast.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for him, I think he's going to find that out on Saturday.
And I'll say people seem to even be surprised when they find out how fast somebody can be that's bigger than them, because they feel like they should have the speed advantage. They always feel like when they go against, like a smaller guy will feel like when he goes against a bigger guy, they should have the speed advantage. And when they put that power and speed together, it seems to shock people sometimes that somebody can be that big and that fast. And sparring people is not the same as going out and fighting. Like, those are two different things. When somebody's going full bore, I feel like it can be a shock to the system, and I feel like that's not just because he did it to Johnny Hendricks way back in the day and made him look so bad, but I kind of feel like he's setting himself up to do the same thing that he did to somebody in the past. And he may have recognized it then, but he's not recognizing it now. He feels like he can do what other people couldn't do. Now, some people have made that jump successfully. I just don't think he's. I don't think he's big enough to do it.
I'm not loving it.
Yeah.
But we get to see real light heavyweights after that in Jiri versus Carlos Ulberg. Jiri Prochazka versus Carlos Ulberg. Jiri, 3-2 in his last 5. Guess who those 2 losses were to?
Pereira.
Shama. Right?
Yep.
And then we have Mr. Carlos Ulberg, who is talking like a man who's walked his way through the light heavyweight division. I am not a hater. I promise. But if, again, we look at your last 5, and I see guys like Dawoon Zhang and Alonzo Menfield on there, we're fighting different caliber of people.
They are definitely fighting different caliber people.
Yeah. So, I say all that to say this. I'm not going to keep you long. I think Carlos Ulberg is a great fighter. Great opportunities coming up. I think he's a little bit too one-dimensional for a guy like Jiri. When I say one-dimensional, I mean how he approaches the game of striking. Yuri's awkward ability, Yuri's length, Yuri's creativity, Yuri's willingness to die in there, which sounds crazy. Because you can say that about a lot of guys. Oh, yeah, he's willing to die. No. I've seen a guy that shows that ability.
Yeah.
And it's not just, talk speak or whatever you call it, fight speak, right? Like he's about that life. I think his creativity is going to be too much for Ulberg. I'm not going to call this off like super early, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was going to end within 2 rounds. But I think Jiri will understand that he has the advantage of keeping his head off the center line, which Jiri is getting a lot better at his head movement.
Yeah.
And I think that's where Carlos Ulberg is hoping to win this fight. If Carlos has to chase him down to try to get at him, I think Jiri presents way too much tools for Carlos to try to avoid in those exchanges. And again, Carlos will be winning the fight in a very similar fashion as a Khalil Roundtree was winning the fight. Are you willing to go there with Jiri? Are you willing to get right in the trenches where both you guys are on the verge of going out? Who's gonna quit? Something tells me Yuri's not.
No.
There's only one guy who's made him quit, and it's because he shut Yuri's brain off.
Yeah.
And that guy's fighting for a heavyweight championship in a month.
Yeah.
Or 2, right? Like that's the guy who shut his lights out. If you're not gonna put him out, it's very hard to take Jiri out.
Yeah.
Right? We thought he was going to be reigning over the light heavyweight division for a while before the injury. We thought he was going to be a problem for years. Right? He had a setback, and then people were able to come in and get the belt. This man's right back in the mix. Yep. And I think he sees the opportunity to have this belt a week before he brings a child into the world. Like he said, he has his mission. His wife has hers. Right? Again, shows you a little bit of that mentality.
Yeah.
And I think he's ready to complete the mission. I think he gets out of there quickly so he could go be bedside by his wife.
I think that's
within 3 rounds.
I think within 3 rounds is probably correct. And that's not anything against Ulberg. It is just that they have been fighting at different levels. Look, Volkan Ozdemir's a good fighter.
100%.
He's not fighting for the title. I think that Jiri is one of the. In fact, now let me change that. I think Jiri is the most awkward person to fight.
Yes.
Good luck getting somebody to be Jiri in camp for you.
I wish you the best.
I don't like to watch Jiri fight because I don't like the way he throws punches. I don't like the way he kicks. I don't like the way he moves. The man wins.
Over and over again.
Spectacularly sometimes. So I love the finishes of the fight. I
Mhm.
even like the little games where when he first came out and he's pulling at his glove, like something's going on with his glove. He's pulling the guy's attention away from it, you know. But just normal, everyday Yuri wins fights unless your name is Alex Pereira. Um, he beats everybody. I think besides that, he's only got one other loss, right? I think he's only got
In
three
the
losses.
UFC, in the
No, not in the
UFC,
UFC. I think
yeah, it was when Ryzen is where he got the other
yeah,
one. But he's undefeated in the UFC if your name is not Alex Pereira.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think he keeps that going. Now, does Oberg have a shot? Of course he's got a shot. Um, could he come out and throw one that knocks Yuri out? Yeah, he could put his lights out. Is Yuri distracted because his wife is having a baby? Doesn't seem like it. Josh Hokett just was in the same room with him, trying to throw him off, and Yuri's just looking at his interpreter and then looking back down at his phone. Okay, like nothing is throwing that man off right now. So unless I see any cracks, I'm gonna go with Yuri Prohaska to win this, and I think within 3 rounds is definitely within the realm of possibility.
Yeah, I'm taking Yuri by finish. I don't see this going to decision. Again, when it gets into those deep dark rounds, that fourth round where you've taken a lot of damage and your body's beat up and you don't know if you have any more, Yuri has another gear.
Yeah.
Again, he pulls into something where it's like, if I gotta die out here, I gotta die out here.
Yeah. He has the
That's
I
the type
don't
of guy
care.
he strikes me as.
Like,
He has the I don't care.
I'm going out to win
Again,
this fight. He'll fight smart for 3 rounds, and then he'll be like, well, here we go.
I watched the Roundtree fight.
Yeah.
Roundtree had that fight dead to rights.
3 rounds to nothing, probably.
Dead to rights. He had it packed up. He just had to survive. He had to survive Yuri's onslaught. And when I say Yuri's onslaught, hands swinging, getting tagged by Roundtree all the same.
Yeah.
But
getting hit.
One of us is going to quit. And it's not going to be me.
Yeah.
Takes Roundtree out. And
Yeah.
Roundtree knew the whole time he's up to 2 rounds.
Yeah.
Demolishes him, right? So we close out the Miami card with Yuri winning.
Yeah.
Getting his belt back.
Think so.
And probably calling out Pereira to come back down. Or maybe saying he'll go up. Right? To chase Pereira because he's chasing the ghost of Pereira because he's the one guy that's giving Yuri problems. Because if, to put a bow on it, let's say Yuri wins. Who is in the light heavyweight division that he hasn't beaten up at the top?
Did he beat Ankalaev? I don't think he fought Ankalaev, did he?
I guess there's an opportunity there. Is that a fight you're clamoring to get to?
I'm never clamoring to see an Ankalaev fight. But
okay.
Also
You sound
never
like me
clamoring
now,
to see a Yuri fight. But I will watch a Yuri fight because somebody's getting knocked out, and it's usually not Yuri.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you know what he presents. I mean, yes, you can say Ankalaev for him to defend it. Me personally, if I'm a matchmaker and he says anything about Pereira and Pereira is able to get this belt out of the potential grasp of Cyril Gane, I'm on board with Yuri going up to fight him. Yes, we've seen that fight twice. Yes, we saw how that song ended. But I got to give him a third one. If he fought his way all the way back to the belt in the light heavyweight division, I'm okay giving him a third one. I know you don't love it.
I don't love it. Now, if Yuri wins a few fights in a row as champ and is still champ, and he wants another shot at Pereira, okay.
Mm-hmm.
But you've had 2 shots in the past 2 years probably,
mm-hmm.
and it hasn't panned out. A third fight is still going to have the other guy up 2-1.
Ask Izzy how he views that exchange.
I mean, yeah,
Izzy
I get
is
it.
1-3 against Pereira.
Yeah.
You know what they replay consistently?
Actually, he's...
That one.
Is he 1-3 or is he 2-2?
Mm-hmm. He's 1-3. He hasn't beat him twice.
Didn't he beat him in kickboxing then?
Mm-mm. He got beat twice.
He got beat twice in kickboxing.
Mm-hmm. He got robbed once.
Okay.
He got allegedly robbed once. I didn't
that
watch
might
the
be the
full
one
fight.
I'm thinking of.
He got allegedly robbed once, and they ran it back, and then he knocked him out.
And he got knocked out, yeah.
Yeah. And then they came back to the UFC. Pereira knocked him out.
Yeah.
Again. if I'm not mistaken. And then the moment happened, the last one where he's like, I'm done, right? If Jiri could, again, I'm okay with your idea. Get a few defenses in and
Yeah.
then show out.
That's where I would be on that. I wouldn't want to see
Yeah.
it right away.
But you also have the moment to cut of Pereira beating Ankalaev and Jiri practically crying in the crowd, excited
Yeah.
that Pereira found himself in a moment where Pereira has the belt again and Jiri has that guy to chase still.
Yeah.
Those promos don't cut themselves, man. That's low-key psychotic, first off, for you to be that excited for the guy that knocked you out twice to get the belt back so you could have something to chase down. You could chase that butt whooping one more time, apparently, right? But the promo's just there. Again, the redemption arc, the redemption story. It's too easy to sell. And especially if Jiri wins this one in a spectacular fashion, you know, give him some time off which I think he spends a month to be a dad. He goes on that 9 to 5.
He might not spend a
paid
month.
parental. And he does a really quick turnaround and he's back training. But I think it sells itself. But I'm not against your idea of not forcing him, but allowing him a couple of defenses potentially. You just know I'm big on the strike while the iron is hot. And for a guy who's also been hurt and had to relinquish his belt that way once, I'd get a little bit hesitant about putting him in a position to potentially have that happen again. I want the big fight while I can still get the big fight.
Yeah, and if he's trying to catch Pereira before Pereira retires,
he's got to hurry up.
Yeah, because
even though Pereira gets the heavyweight and he has 3 belts, who's there to fight? I mean, realistically,
well, didn't he just sign a longer term deal? But even that is going to be another 3-4 fights.
Does that matter though?
Yeah, I guess it really doesn't matter in retrospect.
If you beat Cyril Gane and they're like, okay, the next person we want you to fight is Waldo Acosta. It's not why I came up to heavyweight. I came for John Jones. That's why I came up here. You guys couldn't work out the money with John Jones. I came for John Jones.
Sure.
I took Gane because it was at the White House. And I was doing you guys a favor. Again, I'm a company man. But I came up here for John Jones. And if it's not going to be John Jones, talk to MVP. I want Ngannou. And if it's not any of those two, I'll take my belt and I'll go home as the first to win in 3 divisions in the UFC.
Yep.
What else is there to do? You telling me I'm probably gonna if you come to me with a Josh Hokett fight, I swear on everything. if I am Pereira and I beat Gane and you're like, all right, prepare for Hokett in Tennessee, I am retiring on the spot. Realistically, what else is there to do?
I mean, you got to beat the younger guys coming up to solidify your legacy.
No, you don't.
Yeah,
you don't.
So Hokett is the youngest of young guys right now, and you gotta stick around for Gable Steveson. So you got to take on.
I know
Hokett.
You have a bandana and a Sith mask and a little lightsaber somewhere in that room. You're a Hokett fan. I'm
not a Hokett fan.
I'm feeling it.
That's messed up about the bandanas. He's not the only one that can wear bandanas. Don't do that to me.
Well, guess what? If we're doing an MMA podcast, you are no longer allowed to wear a bandana.
That's not true. I almost wore one last time. My hair was a wreck and I almost put on my bandana. Not for Hokett. I should have done it before Hokett because now I'm going to look like I'm a...
Now you're a Hokett guy.
Now I'm going to look like a Hokett guy. If
Pereira
I ever
got
have
to
do
stay
that.
to fight Hokett. That's all I'm clipping. I'm not doing anything else around this conversation.
Pereira has to stay to fight Hokett, and then he's got to fight Gable Steveson, and then he can call it a day after he fights Jiri, and those are his last 3 fights.
And I'm
Aspinall still out.
If I'm Pereira, it's this fight because I had to, because I don't really want Gane. John Jones or Ngannou, and I will settle for Aspinall. If it's none of those names, I'm going back to the tire shop in Brazil. That's it. I'm chilling. What else is there to do? I took out one of your middleweight ghosts potentially, right? I gave him a moment still to kind of
gave him a
find
moment.
his footing again. I mean, it was off the back of my chin, right? But we allowed a moment to occur, and it was beautiful for the UFC, right? But then I went up to light heavyweight, and I whooped on your boy who thought he was a samurai. Whooped on him twice,
Mm-hmm.
right? Had him thinking that I had sorcerer's magic in
Yeah.
these fists, right? Had him
Yep.
scared shook. Let's leave the magic at home. Put that boy's lights out.
Twice.
And then I went to save your White House card, who was supposed to have your legend on it, but you guys didn't want to pay your legend. So
Mm-hmm.
then I relinquished my belt to fight Cyril Gahn, a guy who everybody hates. Amal hates. A guy who everybody hates, right? Like, and I'm going to put him out at the belt, at the White House. So I'm done. I don't need to give you guys any more gifts of a fight. Prayer is done. Shama.
I know why they made Hokit blades.
Go ahead and tell me, sir.
Because if Gahn or Pereira pulls out of the heavyweight at the White House, you need an American to back them up. They did Curtis Blades, Josh Hokit this time so that they have time to prepare to be a backup fighter. If Hokit beats Blades, he's already doing the thing that we know what the thing is, and he'll end up on that fight as the American to fight Gahn. And if Curtis Blades wins, he goes in to fight Gahn because doesn't he deserve it? He's the number 4 guy in the world. No, he's the number 5 guy in the world. But you need an American. They'll be right to be able to step into that card if somebody pulls out. They'll be rightfully a top 5 guy, whoever it is. Blades won't lose his ranking. Hokit will only take Blades' ranking. And for them, do you want Blades there or do you want Hokit there? Which one brings more eyes? I'd say Hokit does, even though he's gimmicky and trashy on the mic. He'd bring more eyes than Blades would. And I know you don't like what I'm saying, but I kind of feel like they're backing up their White House card. Why else would Blades take this? There's no other reason Blades would take this except he's got a shot to be on the White House card.
Well, he's a paid fighter too, and
I mean, he
no
is a
offense to
paid
Blades,
fighter.
but I feel like
Look,
he's
he
one
is
of the
a paid
guys who
fighter.
are very big on taking down bullies and proving people wrong.
And I
this
hope
is an
that he
opportunity for him
does.
to get in there and show him that he still got it. It's a risky fight. It's an unnecessary fight. If that is the case where he's going to be a White House backup, cool. I don't know if that's the case. In my humble opinion, take care of business, Blades, please. We keep it pushing. We don't have to worry about Hokit anymore. But unfortunately, I don't see it shaping up that way. And I don't want to see him on the White House card. I don't want to see either of them backing up the White House card. But I get it. So that's how I see it. I think this is where we'll kind of call it in terms of the preview. I might get Roger back here in about 5 seconds, and then he'll see me doing the outro. But I appreciate everybody's support. We hope you enjoy UFC 327. We hope you enjoy this Miami fight card. Yes, we lost the title fight, but it'll still be a very great card. I'm expecting a lot of excitement, thrill. It's going to be great. And I hope you guys enjoy watching it as well. Please like, subscribe, and share. Share these clips that are going to go around with this pod. We'll see you guys on the next one. Until next time, peace.